live video recording, or you're a new entrepreneur, coach, consultant, freelancer, and you're feeling stuck about specific topics to talk about, I'll flip the camera. You do find people who do get stuck, and those are the key questions that came up for people, is like, what do they talk about? So I've outlined something here which I hope might be of use. Okay, just flipping the camera. So I'm improvising and hopefully you can see it. So as people are asking questions about what do they actually teach other people, or that they usually run out of topics, the way my mind works, I ended up jotting down a few notes after each webinar. So I tend to visualize. I tend to note things down so that I can visualize it. And I thought I'd share that with you. So this was, I just wrote down sharing information versus teaching. So I think in terms of teaching, sometimes our process can be daunting. Even when you hear the word teaching, I tend to look at it more as coaching or mentoring or sharing information. Because teaching somehow, to me, in the past has represented, and it may resonate with you too, it has represented that you need to be a specialist in a specific area. And in some cases, yes, that does need to be, but I think we all hold essential information which we have learned over the years and which we have also been taught. So to get up to adulthood, we've been taught something and we've taught others. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're aspiring to share information with others. You know, so as a new entrepreneur, I always say the way you will be able to share information on a regular basis and not feel as though you need to be really specialist in that specific area is you learn as you go. So what I've written is that before you even start considering like teaching other people, what I've found essential for me was to undertake an exercise. And that exercise is, first, I sat down for like a couple of hours and I wrote down what is my purpose. So I have always been searching for my purpose, for my meaning in everything that I do, but it was not clearly defined. But then when I look back, I can track through the processes in terms of where I've been involved personally and professionally, that I was always teaching somebody something, or I was either enabled by managers or teachers to be creative because they entrusted that in me. And by being being able to be creative, then I just ran with it. So I also became skilled at systems and processes, and I was doing those type of things blindly without actually realizing it, but it's something that I started to enjoy. So I thought about in terms of like automated systems, things that run on their own. So that's how I think in terms of like entrepreneurship, that when you own a business, it should be on autopilot. Autopilot meaning that there are people that you teach the processes and systems, and you entrust that they are actually going to be able to run your business or run the daily operations within your team, just depending on where you are in life and what you want. So if you're looking to develop some form of like freedom or lifestyle business and something that's online, that's what I strongly believe in, is that you have like a strategy in place. And then, so that I'm digressing. Okay, so then you move on to what is your why? What is driving you solely to become an entrepreneur, or you're already an entrepreneur? You know, have you been enticed by something which you think you're going to earn quick bucks or quick money, pounds as we may say, and rather than America, that's my Americanisms coming out, bucks. So thinking about your reason why. What is driving you to wake up every day? Even when you're going to your professional job, your career, is it something that you've chosen? Is it something that you feel as though you're contributing to? And if you're starting a business, what is your sole purpose in terms of what is your end goal? You know, measure it by what you foresee as your end goal. So that will also identify for you the reason why you want to become like an entrepreneur, and it will drive you along the way, especially if you come against any challenges. And also knowing what your higher purpose in life is. So that's my number 4 on there that I jotted down. So a higher purpose to me is through belonging to like a business community since last year, which I call a community and a family. What I've begun to understand is that when you're undertaking continuous education or development, including personal, you begin to understand that there's a higher purpose. A higher purpose meaning that it's something more than you, bigger than you. So you are more inclined to step away from like internalizing things and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't do this. But you start to think more, I can do it because I'll be able to help somebody else. So the information that you have right now can be powerful enough to actually support somebody else who may be in a difficult situation. There are billions, I don't even know how many people there are on the planet, you know, who are trying to change the circumstance in one way or another. So that can be either in the professional sector or in your personal life, in your community. Somebody needs some key information, you know. So for me, hashtag sharing is caring is essential. So when you have discovered all those things, even including asking your family and your friends about what you are good at, what are your key strengths, then you begin to identify that will be your clue to your reason and your purpose for why you are being involved in becoming an entrepreneur, or whichever business venture you choose, or career path if that's something that you want to do. But this is mainly also geared towards the people who want to develop a lifestyle business long term as one of their income streams. People have like multiple income streams, not everybody, but it's people who are looking for that type of lifestyle where it's something that's freeing, so that you have more time to spend with your family, or you have more time to be creative. And even if you're like in a working environment, you don't feel constrained because you're still following something that is very close to your heart and you're passionate about. So when you know your purpose and your reason why, then you feel confident. And you can also feel confident to actually start creating not stories as such, but it's based on your own personal experience. So like for instance, what I've learned today, I have written it down, but I'm learning on a daily basis. So I'll flip the camera. Okay, so I hope that information was useful. So what I've learned this week, I tend to, so that I'm not really overwhelmed, because sometimes I may not have the energy to consume everything. But what I learn, I structure it so that I write it down, take a note of it, and then add it on as something that I'm developing as part of like my knowledge bank. So if you want to be able to teach people or to mentor, you can also use that information as a one-off like template that you can share with like other people, or you can also use it as part of your vlog, as they may call it. So you can use it, I can't say that word, so you can use it as part of your live recording. And what I've been doing is, because I am a blogger, I have been a blogger for who knows how long, I started doing that for anything that I do for like my own creativity and to just get things out there. in terms of not necessarily sharing on a massive platform like I'm doing here, but I did that personally. Instead of like writing in a diary, I thought it would be useful for me to set up something online where I could share my experiences, and so I still do that up to now. So yeah, so you can create something like that for like your blog or your website, and your video as well. You can use it like as a source of multiplying that, so you don't have to repeat the process. So for instance, on Twitter, Instagram, if you're on all those platforms, Facebook and Snapchat, which I haven't actually learned how to use, although I'm on there, I still don't get it. At least I understand how Instagram works now, and it's a useful tool, especially if you want to connect with people or a community that you want to work with or just to connect with. So yeah, I'm just looking at my notes. In terms of teaching and being lost about what to share with people, so use that learning of what has drawn you to, like, for instance, like a podcast. If you're a regular podcast learner, this is how I started learning, because most of the times I used to say, oh, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I'm at work full time and I'm so tired. So what I did is like I changed my thinking. I changed my thinking, and what I did is I started listening to podcasts. When I discovered podcasts, there was no turning back. So in the morning, instead of listening to the news or music, then I would listen to podcasts of inspirational individuals or specific topics that I was interested in. And I've always been like interested like in business or anything like creative. And I'd also, when somebody recommended a book, I'd also upload that. Then it would be like on audio. So I found that my learning was being fast-tracked. I was learning much quicker, at a quicker pace than I would reading a book. So I found that useful, and I started to accumulate a lot of like information and education, which I found very, very valuable. Until up to now. So I tend to giggle. That's one of my, I can't say faux pas, but hey, you know, sometimes you just have to giggle. So share what you learn with your own words, you know, so that you don't feel like overwhelmed or nervous about engaging with whoever your audience is or your community, your friends. And also you can also create like your own fan page on Facebook, so that I know sometimes it can be daunting to put yourself out there with like family and friends. So like as a practice run, set up something that would be like your fan page where you can actually, or your private page where you can practice or have a friend ask you questions back and forth. Okay, so I hope I've summarized or I've tied in everything in terms of how can you be teaching on a regular basis. I might have digressed just a little bit because I found like some little clues along the way of what, you know, may be useful. But the key to teaching other people is use your existing skills. What you've learned so far is sufficient for other people to learn from you. And then as you go along, otherwise you never start. So as you go along, also use what you're learning and teach it to other people. And you will find that also surrounding yourself with a community of like inspirational people is that those people, even the people that I surround myself with, you share usually the same messages, but it's shared in different ways, and it's shared according to what resonates with us. But it's the same message, you know, and it can be repeated. But the idea is that it's somebody, you know, stimulating like your mind, so you can keep, you know, you can keep going on that path. So I say continue learning from inspirational people, and that will encourage you to actually consume a lot more information. And you have I have tons of information now. I just think, my goodness, there's so much information that rather than keeping it, that's why I'm online now. I would rather share it with people and hopefully that information will be key, or will be useful.